Okay, good afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well. I think we are going to record this one. I didn't do the last one. I had a lot of people asking about that. So I do apologize for anyone that's in here and came last one and didn't see the recording. But just want to kind of quickly talk about what's going on in our markets and what's happening. First, let's do a quick disclaimer here. Obviously, we are here for educational purposes only. We are not a registered investment advisor or a BD. And anything we are talking about here is for that, just hypothetical and trying to give you guys some insights into what's going on in the broader market. So I'm going to come over into the Options Robot platform and just kind of start to chat about what is going on. Let me just make sure that screen share is working. There we go. Okay, so this is the Options Robot platform, and right now we are connected to Tradier in a paper trading account. We are connected. You can do Tradier regular accounts, paper trading, or Schwab or Alpaca. I prefer Schwab because that's where my money is at. So that's one of the big ones that we are connected to at the moment. We will be connecting to more here in the near future. So a little bit different. If you are connected to a real-time trading account, you have some flexibility in terms of adjustments and playing around with this screen here, right? In terms of a little bit more flexibility. Couple things that I want to talk about real quick though is really where we are in this broader market. And obviously there's a lot of people talking and let's just say we'll go over to the Qs, right? And we had a great run yesterday. We had a great follow through in our Bitcoin. And I just want to change my template here real quick. Let me do that real quick. We'll do that, save. Nope, did that work? Did not work. Do that again. And maybe I messed it up. I must have messed it up. So we had one in here. I think I had it. Let me just do one thing here real quick. I'll just bring up my cheat code for what I do. Let's do that one. And there we go. So that's got that in there. So let's go back to our market. And I just want to kind of highlight. Now I got the moving averages in the 20, the 50, the 100, and the 200. Let me get rid of volume and I want to bring up my average true range, which is right there. Okay, so let me just minimize that a little bit as well. So in terms of our market, we've had a absolutely phenomenal run, right? We were at a low back here of April, right? And we've run all the way back up and making new highs here. Yesterday made a new high right across the board. SPY did it. Diamonds were close, shy by a little bit. IWM has probably had the best run out of this entire grouping, right? This is between yesterday and the day before, just absolute home run ball getting through this high and still trying to hold that level you can see right in here. So that one I'm definitely paying attention to here, seeing if we can get through this action, right? Which we were really, I think, close to. Maybe we did actually get through it. So yesterday we were able to get through this action way over here, which was the beginning of January of 2025. So not be able to take these re-highs yet, but we'll have to see if we can get through here. So just trying to watch the broader market now. The one thing I would be paying attention to, and I've highlighted this in a couple different videos. You guys may have seen them on YouTube or anything like that, but the one thing we were watching in here specifically is the RSP. And this is a equal weight ETF for the S&P 500. And I like this because it gives you a good measure of where the broader market is moving. If we're seeing green candles, then you're seeing more breadth in the broader market, right? And I think that's important to understand as we're watching this. So that is one that I think is something that should be on your radar. If we start to take out highs here, I think that's going to give us a really good feel for the broader market that everything's starting to move in sync, that the broader, not just your big weighted names are moving up, but you're getting this complexion where we've been at 50, 60% of the stocks above their 50 day. If we can get, something 65, 70%, right, then we're really going to be continuing to push through highs here. So that will help specifically, I would say probably more on probably the S&P and your IWM, right? So that should really help in terms of the bigger picture there. So The other reason I wanted to come in and talk today is to just try to help you guys out in terms of being able to find, not so much find opportunities, but find a way that trading works for you. I know a lot of our clients, are trying to do the day, uh, work and trade at the same time, and it's very, very difficult. So what we've done with this product is give you the ability to automate your trading. And I'll just go back 1 second because, when I look at where I've come from, I was on the floor trading. I used to have clerks. I used to pay guys to manage my trades because I was busy finding and trading the opportunities. So I would basically be screaming and yelling at guys with tickets trying to, get them to sell stock for me. So, I think when you look at it from a perspective of time is very, very important. And obviously, we have our priorities, right? Family first, right? And obviously, job is critical to pay the bills. So you have to put some time in terms of being able to manage your time. I know there's a lot of retirees out there that want their time back as well. Go play more golf. I had that complaint. I'm not playing enough golf, and I hear you on that one. But to me, what we've been able to do with this, and one of the reasons that Wayne and I have basically gone down this path of building this out is because our own time has been kind of taken away because we're so busy managing services. So when we look at again positions and looking at trading, one of the things that I want to walk through one position for you. Just I don't care what position it is. Let's see if there's a chat in here. I want to see if you guys can chat. Let's go. I'm gonna let you guys pick a stock here. First one to comment in there is the stock we'll look at on that. So anything, I don't care. I'll look at the stock. We'll look at putting in a position in. And I think the chat is open. And you guys should be able to hear me. There we go. It's coming in. Zen was the first one. AMD seems to be the one. That's been actually a pretty decent looking trader here. I know there's been news on that with what's going on in NVIDIA, right? We look at that on the chart here real quick. You can see it's been on an absolute tear the last couple of days. Whoops, zooming in a little bit on this. So great move up, right? We took out the highs. We're doing a pretty good job of holding it here at the moment. So let's just say given today, I'm not necessarily as bullish as I was yesterday. Obviously, big green candle. But let's just say I want to be bullish on this. I like this position. Now, there's a couple different ways to look at this. So let's zoom in. I'm just trying to blow this up, make this very apparent in terms of levels. So let's just say I want to get in above yesterday's close, right? That close is 184.42. Okay, so I would get in potentially a call side on this, and I'd probably want to give it a little time, right? So give myself the ability to trade this and manage it. So let's just look at a bull position I want to trade. Let's actually go into an entry bot, sorry. And I want to go to AMD and type in an entry bot. And AMD, there we go. Okay, now that's there. So I'm going to say if it's greater than that 184, I'll put in something like, I'm going to go a little bit higher. So it's got to clear that and stay above there. So let's say 50, right? Just a little bit higher. Now, I can choose to do different times of the day. If you really are looking at day trading and want to dial in after the open, there's all different types of things post open, all different types of setups you can do here. I'm not going to get too complicated. But let's say I want to buy next week's options. I'm not going to buy tomorrow's. And I'm just going to simply come in and buy the currently trading. So let's say the 185s. And I'm going to get in with a price slice. Now, for those of you that don't know anything about our system, what we've done is try to make it a little bit easier for you to save some money, right? And the idea is that we're going to price slice the bid ask spread. So for our default, the way my default setup right now is I'm slicing 7 times from the mid to the offer, and I'm waiting 10 seconds for each slice. So if I start at the mid price, I'm going to put my bid in at the mid, and then I'm going to work my way up 7 times, and I'm going to wait 10 seconds between each one, right? The idea there is hopefully I'll get into a spot where there's someone in the middle of this market and wants to sell based off of now, probably with a one lot, I'll probably be filled really quickly in terms of that point, but I still have to be up And this is what most systems don't do is give you the ability to work this bid-ask spread or even put it in at a midpoint, right? Just to say I want to be at the midpoint once I get to that point, right? It's not that I want to go and try to guess what that price is going to be today, right? Or I'm going to guess what it's going to be 5 hours from now, tomorrow, or Monday, right? I don't know when this is going to trigger, right? But that's where I would feel comfortable jumping in. So if I click on this and I put it in as my default with my price slice, I can adjust this. I can play around with that. I can start at the bid if I want. Most likely, I'm not going to get filled to at least the mid, right? Being a former market maker and specialist, I wouldn't touch anything on the opposite side of the mid there. So, again, the problem is, or I should say, maybe the good thing is, this may not matter if my bid-ask spread is really tight. So we are only 5 cents wide. So it's not that big of a deal. I'll start at the mid. Most likely I'll get filled somewhere on the next tick up on that, right around the 342, 343 level, if that were the mid at that time. So I'm just going to click create here. And immediately what you're offered is the ability to put in a template for your management of your position. Now, this to me is a massive time saver, right? And I think this is one where most people don't realize how much time you spend trying to manage positions. So you can create any type of a management system that you want, and some are a little more complex than others. Here's one I'm rolling up that has three rolls every 20% of the options value gain. Here's one for 2% of the underlying asset. Here's one I'm rolling up every $5. Another 20%, another $2, right? So if the stock value, the option value goes up by $2. Now, you probably want to look at what the potential gain is or expected move of this. A couple different ways to do that. I'm going to click no for right now and come back to this. A couple different ways to do that. If you look at your option chains, you go down to your I'm gonna go to the next expiration where we're looking at, and I'm gonna look at the straddle, right? So this is where the market is expecting this stock can move over the next week. So that's basically saying 1170. So that's not bad, right? I'm looking at the offer of that, right? That's where the market maker, I'm sorry, I'm in AM, gotta be in AMD. So I did it again. So I go to the wrong thing. There we go, AMD. So let's go to the 22nd on that and minimize and go there. We'll look at the offer. It automatically goes right down to the at the monies, which I love. So we're pretty close still. You're looking at nine, call it $10, right? So, sorry, 980. Roughly, we'll say $10. So still $10 of potential movement on this thing. So if I go back to my positions, I can go back to my AMD down here with my entry bot. And again, I'm still sitting here in a theoretical position. So for me now, if I want to create whoops, I'm not going to create one. I just want to use a default. So if I'm going to go up roughly potentially $10 next week, I may want to use something like rolling for every $3, right? It could be maybe a little bit less. Maybe I want to roll for every $2. I could roll on something like this roll on $2 of the option value gain. So that means my option would have to increase by $2. So there's all these different variations that you can do. Personally, I'd probably say I'm going to do this one here, which is every $3. So I'm going to roll up twice for $3, and then if I get a full big push on this, right, I'm going to end up exiting. So I'm going to click apply on that. And here I have now three trades that are set up for me. If I do get into my entry bot, this is all based off of the virtual position. So I have a virtual position. I have the roll that's set up. I'm going to roll up for $3. I'm going to roll it to the at the money option, and it's going to do it again if it goes up another $3. And then if it goes up another $3, I'm going to get out of that option. Okay, so this is all starts with the entry bot. And until that entry bot triggers, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to touch anything. I'll get notified on this through SMS, through here. It'll pop up on the screen. It makes a sound and through email, right? So these are all important to basically make sure you are notified. So at any point, I can make a decision. Do I want to get in? Do I not like it anymore? Do I want to get out? The other phenomenal thing that I don't think people really pay attention enough to is, and don't have in any other system because they're not using automation, is the pause buttons. And you have to think about all of these positions as theoretical offers. I'm not putting the offer out there, sitting out there for someone to trade against, right? That's not what's happening here. So they're going to happen right when we want them to happen. And, as they're going above those levels, that's when the order gets put in. Now, if you want to pause, right, any of your bots or all of your bots, you can do that with a simple click. If I want to pause my entry bot, all I have to do is click pause and it's paused. I can resume at any time. If I have, let's say I'm in a position and I want to pause a trade from going off, all I have to do is click pause there. That trade will not happen. None of the rolls will happen after that, right? So that's important. So I can quickly resume that. And if I'm sitting here and something hits the fan in terms of news and I'm concerned about all of my positions, I can pause all my bots. So then everything is paused, right? In terms of getting in, getting out, right? That I am resume basically across the board there. So that is important. And I can go back and uncheck those as I see fit, right? I can resume all or basically start to work my way through. So if I have news in, let's say, um, more bombing goes on in some other country and you're like, oh my God, market's going down. Do I have stuff that I don't want to get out of? Do I have puts, right? Or something really great happens, right? There's more trade deals, whatever it is that really were inflation's really low, CPI on Tuesday. Is that something that, okay, I'm concerned that I'm going to get called away on some of these things, so I want to pause all of my sells. So these are things that I think we can, and we're actually working on bullish and bearish types of pauses as well. So I can pause all of my short call or pause all of my calls and my rolls that way, so I can go back and evaluate if the market's just absolutely taking off. So this allows you to get into trades, allows you to manage the trades, and allows you to get out of the trades. Now, I often get questions about what happens if I want to adjust. Well, at any point you can make adjustments on any portion of this, right? So here's your first roll, here's your second roll, and here's your third one, which is your exit. At any point, let's say I want to change this trade here, right? This is my second roll. I can come in and just click and edit. And what's that do? It deletes everything past that, right? I can come in and delete this and say, I'm going to delete it. I have no other positions against me at any point here. Now, all I have is the entry bot. I can always go back and add it back in, say, oh, I screwed up. I want to do, or I want to put another one. I can go and say, I'm only want to roll $2 and then my next one I'm going to exit, right? So quickly, that is how fast we can get into trades and be able to manage those trades. Now, this is something that, I think is very, very powerful for anyone that's trying to work or anybody that wants to get their time back. This is important, right? You need to be able to get to a point where you don't have to sit and manage. Now, some of you may be like, all right, you know what? I need to have more of the discipline in here. So I can add in something like maybe this one. And we'll look at this real quick because this is important to be able to show that you can add in stops. So if it were to go up, this one says I'm in this option. And here I would roll it up, right, in terms of, or I would exit if it were to drop by down 20%, and I'd roll it up if it were to go up by 20%, right? So you can mess around with different types of scenarios and making sure you do have your stops automatically built into place. Now, think about what I just did. Not only did I give you the ability to roll and stops, right, and ors, but each time you do that, you can set your stops up automatically based off of this. And I got a pretty complex plan here, and I did it with one push of a button versus having to go in and try to build orders for each one of these, right? And I can change these around. It has not triggered. So I can say, I want more gain on this one. I want this to be, let's say 40%, right? And basically 4D%, right? Zero. And I'll click confirm. So now all that is basically I just updated it and come on, right? So 40%. So the option, the stock moves, I'm sorry, down. Oh, sorry, that's my stop. I apologize. So then if this one here, right, in terms of that one, I want this to be bigger gain here as well. So this one, option gain since inception, let's say 40% on that. And we'll click confirm on that one. So now you can see that I have them both at 40, right? You can adjust any one how you want, right? That's all going to be up to you and your plan of how you want to do that, right? So again, just the speed at which you can do this is tremendous, right? I can't express how much time it saves me to jump into and set up an entry bot and then just kind of put a template in and say, I'm good, right? I'm happy with that for now, right? Now I can come back and evaluate it at any point. So this is again all in a paper trading account. So just a couple things in terms of trading that we are again, you want to look at simulating it. We do have the simulation page. I'm not trying to get into the different styles, but there's a lot of flexibility in here that most people don't look at. If I want to go look at long calls, long puts, all you have to do is click on one, right? And it's going to pull up an example. The other thing you can do is if I want to set a criteria for what I typically look at, or for what you particularly look at, I should say, is that if I'm looking at typically let's say 15 days out, right? And I'm looking at maybe a slightly in the money option. So I would increase my delta by a little bit and set that to my default. I can save that and apply. So what that's going to do is go adjust my option anytime I go to any stock, right? I can go to Qualcomm, right? I can go to Qualcomm. There we go. Qualcomm, right? And it's automatically, well, if I go back to that long call, right? Long call, it's automatically going to pull me up an option that is slightly in the money 15 days out, right? So then you're looking at that's your rate down there, your applied volatility. These are all things you can adjust in terms of that. So this is they're saying, let's see, let me look at the details on this. This is looking at, it's got to be August 29th, so we're going at least the 15 days. And it's saying my delta is closest one is about 55 delta, right? So that option right in there, it's kind of what your default was set at. Now, again, if you like different types of strategies, whether it's iron condors, whether it's put spreads, selling put spreads, whatever it is, and you want to look for a certain criteria, it'll automatically pull it up. Again, the whole goal of this is to save you time. Now, if you don't like this option, the nice thing about this is I want to adjust this. So I want to go maybe deeper in the money. All I have to do is slide this thing in here. And that goes for any of these. So if I want to do like a long call vertical and I want to say I want to do the 150, 160, I can do that very simply by just sliding it. Or maybe I want to make it a little wider. I now have that. And if I want to place the order, I like where this is at. I like, what the potential is for whatever reason. Maybe I want to go further out of the money and I want to play, 165, 180 for dirt cheap and say, okay, I want to place that order, right? So that's going to come in, and I placed that order that fast, right? So it places the order ready to go. So I went in as a market order and I have that thing there. Again, paper trading account, I'm not really worried about it. So these are all the things that I think when you start to look at time saving, all this is really geared towards trying to help you out. Now, the other side of that is ideas, right? Here's some of the ones that we've had in here in the most recent past that we were looking at, a Rigetti, a Google, an IONQ. And one of the things we're doing in here is going to start putting more trade ideas in here. And the thing with this is that you can come in and copy these trade ideas. So you can see I have 13 people that have mirrored this. They just want to watch this trade. And I have one person that has come in and copied this trade. So if you're a member, you can copy it. What it does, it comes automatically. If I like the trade or if I like the setup or like whatever, I can copy it. It'll automatically go into your account and you can then have the ability to change whatever you want to change in there. Okay. If you want to mirror it, what that does is it allows you to watch the trade, any adjustments that are done to it, and watch it at any point. So if I pulled that up on my own system, you would see exactly the same thing in here. What's going on? What are my bots? What am I doing? Where am I rolling? What are my levels? Right? You can go in now. It's the one thing I didn't touch on. A lot of you guys that have been with me for a while and traded with me know I really love my levels, and that's something we do have built into here. And if you go to pretty much any of our names, let's say like a Tesla, right? Something and doesn't like when I type too fast. Tesla, there we go. Tesla. So Tesla will probably have a bunch of levels in here, right? So you can see all those levels, and that's pretty interesting. So if I wanted to go in and trade, let's just do maybe an entry bot, and I want to do Tesla. Tesla. Oh, come on. And let's say, where is Tesla trading here? High of day. Let's just put a level in. Tesla, there we go. Sorry about that. And let's say that's not correct. So let's say I'm going to be bullish on Tesla. If it starts to break out a little more, maybe takes out the high of the day. High of the day is 340.44. So let's just say, for argument's sake, if we get back above 341. Now, what you see pop up above there, because I do have all these levels in there, is the levels integrated into your trading. So if I want to use one of the levels, right, in terms of maybe that 340.88, because that's a flat line, all I have to do is click on it. It's there, right? So that is integrated in a variety of different ways. So let me just do this one. Let's set this up real quick in Tesla, and I'm going to say 340s, and we go, let's see. We'll just do a quick midpoint on that. So I'll create the order. And now that I use the level, I don't want to do this one. I want to create my own. I want to create a bot. And let's say I want to say stock value is greater than, and I automatically have my levels built in there, right? So this one, if I want to do that, I can say I don't really have a close enough level that's built in. So maybe I'm going to use something like let's just argument say make 345. And I'm going to roll up my option. I'm going to roll them to, we'll say the next week. And I want to roll them up to at the monies at the time will be the 345s. So I'll do that at midpoint, right? So I can hit create. So now if I like that, I can create another one and say I'm going to stay in the position. I want to say stock value greater than, I can use that upper level, that 349 one right there and say, I want to, if it gets up to there, I want to look to exit the trade. I'm going to do that mid-market and create. So if you want further discipline, right, I can start to go in and say, well, I can preview my group and say, I want to add a stop to this, right? I want to say if this drops down below here, I want to create a stop. Or you'd say, I want to use a template. Well, the templates are set up that they are generic, that they are either a percentage or a specific dollar amount versus you can't use levels in a template because it has to be something I can use across the board. So it has to be on specific dollars or as a percentage of whatever the stock price is or the option price. So hopefully that helps you in terms of something like that. So, a couple different things on the chart, which I really haven't gotten into. Obviously, this is Trading Views chart. It is not integrated with if you are a member of TradingView, it does not integrate into where you can grab all of your indicators or stuff like that from them. So you may have custom indicators or anything like that on that. So it does not connect. We're using their library. It's a phenomenal company. They give you a really robust product here. So you can get pretty much everything they have and give you all the comparisons, all the indicators, and it's just phenomenal in terms of that. What we've done, though, a couple different things that are maybe similar or maybe in addition to them, we've had this grid view. So I know a lot of guys that have multiple monitors want to be able to watch the market in terms of that. We created the grid view. Again, you can set this up however you want. You can do your candles on each one of these. So put your indicators on each one. Gives you the ability to watch the market in a little bit broader sense. Right now, I just have some of the bigger names in the SPY in here to kind of watch this on a 5-minute candle and just see how everything is moving. So hopefully that is something that catches your eye as well, because this is something one of my big requests. So a couple of the things I do want to say is we are a young company, right? This is something that I think over the course of the next 6 months, we have a lot of different tools and plans that are coming into this. And I love your feedback. I'd love to get, anything that you would like in here that you think is going to be valuable to not only yourself, but to other traders. So we're trying to build a list of the different things. Wayne and I have already a shopping cart of different things that we're adding, but if there's something that's very intriguing for someone or something that can really help out people, then that would be something that we'd want to put in there. So you can contact us and support if that is something that interests you. Trying to find whatever tool saves you a bunch of time, right? Anything like that. That's what we're always trying to find in terms of trying to help people out and make it as easy as possible for people to get in and out of their trades. So I think I've covered pretty much everything. We're at about a half an hour. I do want to answer any questions that you guys may have, or I can even talk more about the stock market as well. Brent came in and was looking at Coinbase, and been a bit of a wild card here. Let me get off of the grid view and come back into Coin for you. Coin is one where and I went back to the wrong. Let's see. Let me just get out of that and put a candle in here so we can see where this is at. I keep old habits. I got to get used to trading view on this. It's very intuitive to be able to zoom in and see this, but I'm used to the old Thinkorswim in terms of having to zoom in certain ways. So, they're trying to put something together here today, right? It was a really big day yesterday. They were screaming this thing. It went through my level back here on this high, right? And it was looking very good in terms of being able to get in there. So at this point, I'd want to see, a bigger close where we could close above some of this action. I'd like to see a green candle first, right? Because all we've had is red candles where the sellers have come in towards the end of the day or middle of the day and just started to sell back into this. So I'd like to see a green candle where we can actually see something positive out of this and have a good close, right? Maybe above a couple of these closes would be great, let alone to get it back above this close would be phenomenal. And start to show you that we can kind of recover from the carnage back in here, right? MicroStrategies has been the same way. MicroStrategies has been down and been lingering, right? A little bit worse for wear on that one in terms of down at the support area down in here. Even Hood has been getting hit on that one as well. So this is one like to see a little more recovery out of that in terms of the bigger picture on that. Zen's looking at Apple, and we were talking about Apple in our last class here, and I think that's been awesome, right? Apple's been absolutely phenomenal. Are we due for a little pullback? Sure, right? But the market needs Apple to engage to really continue to make higher highs. Between the big names, Microsoft, if you don't have Microsoft, you need Nvidia and Apple. If you don't have Nvidia, you need Microsoft and Apple. If you don't have Apple, you need Microsoft and Nvidia, right? The big weighted trillion-dollar names. Amazon's been one that's really helped out in the last day or two in terms of really popping on their news. So that was a big day yesterday on the news that they are starting the perishable, right, where they're able to send out this food as fast as possible. I'm not sure if it's in all markets, but holy crap, that's a big undertaking, and Walmart's doing it. Walmart's doing very good with it. I've had a lot of people, high compliments to it. I was actually on a plane last week, and I heard a couple talking about it. They're going to get into their Airbnb and like once we land, let's just put an order in so it's there. And by the time we get settled, we'll have our food done. We don't have to go shopping or do anything with it. I'm like, that is just awesome in terms of the big opportunity there. Okay, so this one in terms of Amazon, I think it's a tremendous opportunity. It's a little overbought now, right, in terms of the action in there. Martin's asking a question here. Let me just touch on that. Um, no, it does not sit on top of TradingView. It actually is using their library for just the charts only. So it is a completely independent product from TradingView completely. It connects to your Thinkorswim. If you are a Thinkorswim user through Schwab, it will connect to your broker. So I can come over here and connect. You can see I already have my Schwabs connected. So all I have to do is basically go in, it'll connect your accounts and you can do the action that you want to do in here and go over to your Thinkorswim and it's going to be helping to manage your trades inside of it'll basically it doesn't sit on I guess technically you could say it kind of sits on top of it, but yeah, it's connected to your Thinkorswim or your Schwab account, so it sends it through there. What you'll see is your trade confirmation as Options Robot as a trade confirmation in there. So it would be linked to your TOS, yes. Yeah, and then the robots will do the trading for you. Now, a lot of people want to say, is this AI? And it's not, right? We are not putting AI into this yet. We have been working on it, right? In terms of being able to be an assistant in terms of that. But the problem with that is you really need to be dialed in on your AI and understand. I actually was with a business that wants to use our product and wants to integrate AI with it. And I'm like, that's fine, but I didn't feel like they had a handle on what the AI capability was. How much how much leverage, how much of flexibility, how much room do you let AI handle for you? So we're going down that path very, very carefully. But I do feel like sometime in the next 6 months we'll probably have some components in here for AI to help not only with the bots, but maybe not give it the flexibility to make the trade, but to help assist like, hey, here's an area, maybe giving you alerts to say this area is looking, toppy, or this area looks, maybe you want to consider a roll given the stagnation in the trade right now. So something along those lines. So yeah, anybody that wants to jump in, you can come over to the website, optionsrobot.com. There's links across the board. I'm going to set up a discount for anybody that comes in, right? We are really trying to get as many people using this as possible. So I'm going to give you guys a discount for coming into the webinar today. So let's just create a code. If you guys give me a couple minutes, I'll create a code for you. Let's just call it, what's today? We are on the 14th. We'll say um, I'm going to say mid 50, MID 50 will be the coupon code. You're going to get 50% off of that on a one-time code. So I'll put that out till Sunday, make that available for you guys till Sunday, so you get 50% off. Now, the kicker here is I would go in if you want to test it out, you do get a trial. And I would set up with the coupon code, and if you like it, I would get the best value, best bang for a buck that you can, because you're only going to get 50% one time. So if you want to do it on a monthly, you'll get 50% off of that. If you want to do it on the annual, you can get 50% off on that as well. So I'm going to make that available only for the pro version, right? Or the beginner and the pro version. There's a beginner version, which only allows you to use the paper trading accounts, right? Does not allow you to connect to your broker. If you want to connect to your broker, you have to use the pro version, and that is $50 a month, right? So if you use the discount, obviously you're going to get 50% off of that. If you use the annual, that's really what you get, where you get your bang for buck for, right? In terms of jumping in and testing it out, making sure it works for what you're trying to do. No caps. So David, no caps on that, mid 50 MID, since we're here at the middle of the month, and we'll do a 50% discount for you guys. So I just want to make sure I'm getting to all of the questions. Any other questions you guys may have? Right. My goal is to help you guys get to that next level. If you're a beginner, if you're intermediate, or if you're an expert, right? Automation, I think, is going to be key for trying to get you and make it easier for you to get to that next level. I look at this for a variety of different types of services. I really uncovered momentum. I didn't get into any of the credit spread trading where you can have these templates set up. Let's say I put on a credit spread, I can quickly say I not only do I want to stop or a level where I can get out of the trade, but I have a spot where I want to be offensive. I can buy those trades back. So iron condors, I can set it up so I have both my legs being legged out. I don't have to go in and do all the individual management. I can click one button and it's automatically done for me. So that has saved me a tremendous amount of time. So what I do with my iron condors is when I put my trades on, I will then put a template on, say, buy back either leg if it drops under 30 cents. So I put each one on for roughly a buck. I buy it back and oftentimes I don't even think it would have been close, but I get hit on a bid, or if it's trading under 40 cents, and then I work the bid with a bid-ask spread price slicer on that. So, those things are very valuable. And then the longer term time management, the ones that, let's say I have covered calls. That to me is one of the most powerful things, because nobody wants to sit there and watch a covered call. It's boring, right? I don't have to sit there and watch it every day. So you can set up your covered calls so that I can roll my option. If it gets cheap enough, buy it back, and you can tell it exactly where you want it to roll to, right? I can say I want to roll up to this delta and sell me my next option when it gets above, again, I want to be at a 35 delta. So roll me up to next expiration, 35 delta. Right. So those little things and nuances I think are pretty powerful, and I think could help out a lot of people as they are on their trading journey. So we've created this. We're looking to continue to enhance this. We're looking to continue to expand to other broker dealers. On our list is TradeStation, Tasty Trade, E-Trade, and Interactive Brokers. We've had requests to go to Webull, but not quite there yet. I don't think they're as advanced in the options quite yet, but we've also had a request for Robinhood. I'm not sure if they've expanded into an API or not, but as of like a couple of months ago, I didn't think they had an API. So we're looking at all of those just because of their requests have come in pretty extensively. So that is on the list. We do have a limited capability in terms of programming time, so we are probably going to be doing those in stages. Do get one done, do another one, and then let the other programmers do some of the advancements, especially if you guys do have requests, things that you want to see done or stuff that one that just came out we had done is a trade sorter. So if I'm looking at my positions and we just came in here and you can come in and you can do this sorter. So if we have several people that come in and have a lot of trades, they want to be able to see those trades and find them quickly because the list is very long. So we basically came able to and put this in here so you can sort for strategies, for direction, for what have you. The one last thing I want to mention for automation, we talked about the pause button, right? So you get into the pause button and looking at that pause button. When you get in and you start to look at automation and you have positions, let's just go back to one of the other ones we had just put on, like what did we talk about? We talked about AMD, right? So AMD in here, right? You can look at, I'm going to delete this whole thing. I want to delete and I want to delete. So I want to delete all of my management. So one thing I want to do, let's just do a gap protection. So I want to say if the stock, let's say if the stock goes up by $5, I want to roll, right? So let's just roll up and I'm going to roll up to we're in the AUG 22s. I just want to roll up and I will roll up the at the monies. Okay. So, and I'm going to do it at midpoint and I'm going to click, whoops, greater than, sorry, is moves up by the current price, moves up by the acquisition price by $5. Create. Okay, so that's the first one. Now I want to do a nested trade, and I want to say if the stock value greater than acquisition point goes up by $5 the exact same way, I want to roll again. And I'm going to do, let's say I'm going to stick in the same expiration and I'll roll up the at the monies. And I'm going to click midpoint. And you know what? Maybe that's not how I got to do it. Maybe I got to do it by greater than this. Nope, I want to do, let's do it by price level. So let's say this is, let's do cancel this one. Sorry, one sec. I want to go back to this one, edit this. I want to do price levels here, not that. So let's do price levels greater than, let's say 185. And I want to roll up to the at the monies. I want to click confirm. And then on my nested trade, I want to do greater than and do greater than. I want to do 185, no, 190, let's say 190. And I want to do a roll. And we're going to go up to the same, this one, and I want to roll up to the at the money on that. Now, what that does is give me the ability to have a gap override. So what the gap override means is that because I have multiple options and I can go up as far as I want, I can keep creating these so it goes up 3, 4, 5 times. And what happens if I'm expecting gaps in the morning, right? What that's going to give me is the protocol to say if I gap up over my first level. Let me see if I can just pull that up. Doesn't really do you justice on that in terms of being able to read it. But let me see if I go back to looking at this trade here. Let's do that, pull it up, make it a little easier for you guys to read. So if it were to go above 185, obviously I'm going to use that. But if I go above 190, I'm going to automatically roll up to the 190s versus being in the 185s. So that's important when you're doing automation because if you, let's say you gap up to 192, the last thing you want to try to do is roll up to the 185 calls and then roll up to the 190s again. Right. So that's very, very important. Something we found like, okay, the system should be able to analyze this and take advantage of this. So that to me is a very big winner, right? When you're looking at things like, holy crap, I didn't even realize this was gapping, right? So, or if you don't care, then that's fine. Let the system handle it. But that to me is a big do if you can get in there and have a gap override and you let the system work for you. So, okay, maybe my one level wasn't tight enough. Maybe it only got to 189, right? But if it went to 189, you'd be rolling up to 185. It's not the end of the world. But if it got to 192, 193, right? Anything above 190, it's going to automatically skip the 185 calls and roll you up to the next one. Right. So I think that was a pretty cool development by our team to be able to put that in on the gap override. So it's going to override this one, knowing that you ideally want to get and roll up to the at the monies and be able to manage that for you. All right. So hopefully that's something you can use in the future here to really go. Um, so Tom, trade credits, yeah. So you can manually trade anything you want, right? Again, you want to come in and do manual trades in here. You can do that till the cows come home. Doesn't cost you a dime. But a trade credit is for any of the automation that you're going to do. So it's for every bot, it's $1. So if you come in and I don't care, we don't care about the size. So the size is irrelevant. So we're looking at the bot. So if you're going to manage a 1 lot to 100 lot, right, it's going to be still $1, right? So it's the amount of programming power on the back end that we have to sit there and manage and watch the trades because the system has to manage. Anytime you put any kind of a trade level in here, we're going to have to sit and monitor that from the system perspective. Just takes up bandwidth. So for size wise, again, doesn't really matter to us as you get comfortable going from 1 lots to 10 lots to 50 lots. That will be again you get more bang for buck because the bigger you go and the more often you trade, right, in terms of that because right we don't care about the size. If you do it for a 10 lot whatever, it's pennies on the dollar for that. But yeah, so that is geared towards helping us with the bandwidth and the again for the people that trade a lot, right? It kind of compensates for us to offset the server on that. So you get bots with that. So if you do an annual, yep, you get bots included with all those. And yeah, so you'd be getting one for every bot that you use, it would be $1. And if you run out of bots, it just means you can't do the automation, right? If you're doing a lot of automation, you can set it up. You just basically come back up in here, buy a couple of more bots on that. And I can see us down the road where we'll probably run discounts on those, right? Get them to, for people that are really aggressive and maybe the bigger numbers, probably if you're doing a lot of trading, we'll probably bring that number down and say for every whatever 100 bots, we'll take a percentage off on something like that. But for right now, we're trying to make sure our server costs are covered and this was the easiest way to kind of go about that because you could have 100 bots that never trigger and you don't pay a thing, right? You don't pay a dime if they don't trigger. But for those that are actively on it and trading, I have some guys that are trading 40, 50 bots a day, right? And they're making a ton of money, right? So that basically then says, okay, that cost is at least covered on our servers, right? And the $50 is irrelevant to them because they're making thousands, right? So yeah, so I mean it's a no-brainer. It's not a commission. It's not something we're trying to make commissions off of. It's more on just making sure our servers are covered and helping to offset. This seems the only way that we could do it that made sense. All right. So again, I'll let you guys go here. If you do have any other questions, you can follow up with me. My email is ryan@optionsrobot.com, or you can get our support team, support@optionsrobot.com. Again, that coupon code MID50, you're going to get everything you see here. There is the one thing that's not included is the levels. That's the upper basket of our other opportunity there. So that's $150 a month because it has all the levels that we keep updated on that. So I would start with the pro level service. If you find it helpful and you want more, then just let us know. All right. Um, David, I will send it to him. I do appreciate that. So thank you guys. I hope you have a good rest of your week and we'll talk to you guys soon. All right. Take care. That coupon code again, MID50, mid 50, no capitals in that. All right. So take care and have a good day.